Welcome to Breastfeeding Success While Going Back to Work. This training is being offered to you by Seraphic Baby Care and is meant as a tool to help you successfully go back to work while continuing to breastfeed your baby and pumping and providing milk to your infant while they are in care. After you finish watching, I recommend you check out my list of links for this video entitled Links for Breastfeeding Success While Going Back to Work. There you will find sources, handouts, and more to help you on your journey returning to work after your maternity leave. Hello, my name is Rebecca Iverson, owner of Seraphic Baby Care, a newborn care business located in Rockford, Illinois. I offer newborn care specialist and sibling doula services in Northern Illinois, Southern Wisconsin, and the Madison and Chicagoland area. I am a DONA International trained postpartum doula, a newborn care training academy trained newborn care specialist, and I also possess a Bachelor of Science degree in child development and have worked in childcare for over 30 years and have worked exclusively with infants for the past 15 years. As a disclaimer, I do not have medical training or am I a certified lactation consultant. However, I have experience helping mothers be successful in breastfeeding while their baby is in daycare. All right, let's get started. Thanks for joining me for this webinar. I'm glad that you're here. Here's what we'll be going over. First, a little introduction to why breastfeeding is so important and why I hope everyone can successfully reach their breastfeeding goals. Next, let's get the legalities out of the way. What are your rights when pumping at work? While the legalities I cover in this webinar are for Illinois and Wisconsin, all of the U.S. is covered by the federal FLSA's Pump for Nursing Mothers Act. The next section is during your maternity leave. In this section, we discuss what you can do to help your transition back to work go smoother. In issues you may run into, we'll discuss some issues that you may have on your breastfeeding journey, how to prevent or solve them, and where to get help if you need it. Then we'll cover supply and demand, what to do if you are losing your supply, serving breast milk from a bottle, and lactation support, where you can get help if needed. Breastfeeding has been proven to not only aid in baby's immunity and raise baby's IQ, but it can reduce the mother's risk of breast and ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. Studies show that the immunities in breast milk can change based on the baby's needs. For example, when a baby is ill, products in baby's saliva can signal to mom's body that baby needs more of the right kind of immunities. Breast milk is gold. But it can be hard to continue supplying milk when going back to work, but you can do it. According to the website EBN, in their November 18, 2022 article entitled U.S. Ranks Worst of 40 Countries for Paid Maternity Leave, the U.S. is the worst when it comes to supporting postpartum parents. Using data from national statistic offices, the OECD, the World Bank, and Eurostat, from 2020 and 2021, CommonSenseMoms.com ranked countries according to how many paid weeks of leave mothers can take. The Slavic Republic took the #1 spot with 164 weeks. The U.S. leads the worst list at 0 weeks guaranteed paid maternity leave, with Switzerland a distant second with 14 weeks. While most companies will offer 6 weeks maternity leave here, many have to use their PTO, and if you have none, no pay for you. Leaving baby and going back to work is hard enough without having to balance breastfeeding, pumping, storing, and handling breast milk. A support system can help, including utilizing your baby's care. Let's start with Illinois. The Right to Breastfeed Act dictates a mother may breastfeed in any location, public or private, where the mother is otherwise authorized to be. The General Assembly finds that breast milk offers better nutrition, immunity, and digestion and may raise a baby's IQ, and that breastfeeding offers other benefits such as improved mother-baby bonding. And its encouragement has been established as a major goal of this decade by the World Health Organization and the United Nations Children's Fund. The General Assembly finds and declares that the Surgeon General of the United States recommends that babies to be fed breast milk unless medically contraindicated in order to attain an optimal healthy start. The CDC recommends that infants be exclusively breastfed for about the first 6 months and then continue breastfeeding while introducing appropriate complementary foods until your child is 12 months old or older. The World Health Organization, and UNICEF recommend the following: early initiation of breastfeeding within an hour of birth, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, and introduction of nutritionally adequate and safe complementary solid foods at 6 months, together with continued breastfeeding up to 2 years of age or beyond. Who goes on to point out that breast milk is also an important source of energy and nutrients in children aged 6 to 23 months. It can provide half or more of a child's energy needs between the ages of 6 and 12 months, and one-third of energy needs between 12 and 24 months. Breast milk is also a critical source of energy and nutrients during illness and reduces mortality among children who are malnourished. Did you know studies show that the immunities in breast milk can change based on the baby's needs? Milk produced at night contains melatonin, so milk pumped at night can contain melatonin, which will aid in sleeping when using that bottle at night. Children and adolescents who are breastfed as babies are less likely to be overweight or obese. Additionally, they perform better on intelligence tests and have higher school attendance. Longer durations of breastfeeding also contribute to the health and well-being of mothers. It reduces the risk of ovarian and breast cancer and helps space pregnancies. Exclusive breastfeeding of babies under 6 months has a hormonal effect, which often induces a lack of menstruation. This is a natural, though not fail-safe method of birth control known as lactation amenorrhea method. This is because of what is called the fourth trimester. The fourth trimester lasts for approximately 12 weeks postpartum. During this time, baby is still adjusting to life outside of the womb, and mom is still healing, and her body is slowly returning to its pre-pregnancy state. Okay, let's get the legalities out of the way first. How are you protected when it comes to pumping and breastfeeding in your workplace? Laws protecting breastfeeding mothers in the workplace vary from state to state. In Illinois, the Nursing Mothers in the Workplace Act states an employer shall provide reasonable break time to an employee who needs to express breast milk for her nursing infant child each time the employee has the need to express milk for 1 year after the child's birth. An employer should also make reasonable efforts to provide a room or other location in close proximity to the work area, other than a toilet stall, where a breastfeeding employee can express her milk in privacy. According to mamava.com, Wisconsin doesn't have any state legislation to protect and support breastfeeding in the workplace, but all breastfeeding employees in Wisconsin are protected by the federal FLSA's Pump for Nursing Mothers Act. Under this federal mandate, breastfeeding employees are entitled to reasonable break time and a private space, other than a bathroom, to pump at work for 1 year. What if your workplace isn't following the rules? On my link page, you'll find a link to how to file a complaint. There you will find helpful information from the Wage and Hour Division of the U.S. Department of Labor if you find yourself in need of help. According to their website, the Wage and Hour Division is responsible for enforcing some of the nation's most comprehensive federal labor laws. The workers who are protected by these laws often want to know, how do we do what we do? Many investigations are initiated by complaints, which are confidential. The name of the complainant, the nature of the complaint, and whether a complaint exists may not be disclosed. An employer cannot retaliate against a worker for exercising their rights, filing a complaint, or cooperating with an investigation. You will also find a link for the Center for Work-Life Law, which operates a free legal hotline that provides information about workplace rights and makes referrals to attorneys as appropriate. Their email is hotline@worklifelaw.org, or you can call 415-703-9276. If you'd like this info on a printable handout, you'll find a link to it also on my link page. During your maternity leave, what you can do during your maternity leave to help the transition back to work. It's a good idea to come up with a breastfeeding plan. It will be especially helpful when going back to work. Every woman has their own specific breastfeeding goals that include how long they plan to breastfeed, whether they are okay with supplementing if needed with formula, and how they want to pump. Please keep in mind that your goals need to be flexible. Breastfeeding is different for every woman, and there may be medical reasons why your goals need to change. Here's some things to think about when working on your breastfeeding plan. You might want to include how long you plan to breastfeed, 6 months, 12 months, till your baby weans themselves. Will you serve your child breast milk only? Some parents send breast milk to their baby's carer, some breastfeed at home but send formula to the carer, and some do both. This decision may depend on whether you are an overproducer or an underproducer. Every woman is different in how much milk they produce. While there are things you can do to up your production, women are naturally underproducers, overproducers, or produce just what their baby needs. There are other factors that can change how much you produce, but for now, we are just going to discuss how you naturally produce. Will you supply frozen breast milk to your carer or fresh? If you choose frozen, it's best to pump extra during your maternity leave and store for later use. If you provide fresh, it's best to pump at work at times that your baby normally eats and keep cold to bring to the carer the next day. Keep in mind the fresh method may only work if you produce enough milk through pumping to pump an entire bottle. Why do my breastfeeding goals and breastfeeding plans need to be flexible? How long you plan to breastfeed and how you plan to breastfeed might need to change. Once you start back to work, you may find that you can't keep up with baby's needs, especially if you happen to be an underproducer. Breast pumps are generally not as efficient as baby at drawing out milk, and you may have issues pumping enough. You may need to consider supplementing with formula or shortening the length of time you are planning to breastfeed. If you are really determined not to alter your plans, a licensed lactation consultant can help you with your goals. It's okay to choose to change your plans. Some women find that their goals are too hard to keep up with once they return to work. Maybe you decide 12 months is too lofty a goal and you want to shorten that time. If pumping, storing, freezing, and toting milk just causes you distress, it's okay to rethink your goals. You are not failing your baby. If you decide to store your milk in the freezer before returning to work, it is advised not to start pumping during the first 2 to 3 weeks that you have started breastfeeding your newborn. After that, if you pump between feedings, only pump half of what your child is drinking. Most babies drink 3 to 4 ounces at around 6 weeks, so it's best to have bags with that much milk before freezing. You can also pump in the middle of the night once your child starts to sleep longer stretches. Milk expressed at night may contain melatonin, so it's best to mark your stored milk when it was pumped so it is used to help baby sleep. Here is a guide for storing pumped breast milk. On my link list, you will find a link to a 2-page breast milk storage guide you can download. On the countertop, at room temperature, milk that has not been frozen can be kept for up to 4 hours. Thawed milk can be kept out of the fridge for up to 2 hours before using or refrigerating. If the bottle has touched baby's lips, it must be used or discarded within 2 hours. In the refrigerator, typically around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, non-frozen milk can be kept for up to 4 days. Thawed milk can be kept for up to a day. In the freezer, typically below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, non-frozen milk should be used within 6 months and up to 12 months, and never refreeze breast milk. If you have milk you have recently pumped in the fridge, newly pumped milk can be added to it. Another thing that you should work on while on maternity leave is getting your baby used to the bottle. This will help your carer tremendously. Around the halfway point of your leave, it's time to teach baby to drink from a bottle. Some babies do not have a problem with the bottle, but a lot hate it. Be patient and keep trying. Like anything, start off with short sessions and gradually go longer. Some babies absolutely refuse to drink from a bottle with mom, so you may need to enlist the help of dad or another family member or friend. But if baby doesn't learn to drink from a bottle before going to their carer, they may spend their day not eating. Here are some tips to help encourage your baby to drink from a bottle. Try different milk temperatures. Babies differ on what temp they prefer: cold, warm, really warm. Some want it to be similar to mom's temp, and some prefer it different because they know the bottle isn't mom. Make sure baby is hungry, but not too hungry. Hangry babies can make it more difficult. Never force. If baby's upset, wait a bit and try again later. Try different feeding positions. I brought my baby here to try and show you some of the different positions. This is your typical traditional way to hold the baby, cradled in your arms, supporting their head, supporting their feet. You might also want to try tucking their arm under, facing them towards you like you would breastfeed. This might be better to do for non-mom caregivers to try, because once baby's in this position, they're going to go for the breast and not be happy about the bottle. You could also try the football hold. Again, another position that other caregivers would try. Tuck baby under your arm, cradle their head with your hand, feed them this way. You can pull them away from the body, lean them against your stomach, cradle their head in your hand, and feed like this. And then also, it's always a good idea to switch sides. Feed to a side that you're less comfortable with, especially if you're not nursing the baby. This way, it helps baby drink more like they're drinking from mom, and it helps with their neck muscles to not constantly always be looking the same direction so that their neck muscles get stiff. All right, other things that you can try: use movement. Rock baby or stand and bounce. Sometimes a little movement is all that's needed to get baby to start sucking. It also helps if you learn how babies drink from the breast. We'll cover this in the section Issues You May Run Into, Avoiding Nipple Confusion. Have someone besides mom feed from the bottle. Nancy Moorbacher writes in her book, Working and Breastfeeding Made Simple, a book I recommend, by the way: if your baby seems to be resisting the bottle, the most important thing to avoid is allowing the bottle to become a battleground. Continuing to try to give a crying baby a bottle can cause him to develop a negative association with it. Rather than fighting about it, it's much better just to put the bottle down, act like it's no big deal, and try another time. Next, let's cover some issues you might run into. When to call a lactation consultant. It's not uncommon to need help in your breastfeeding journey, whether you're going back to work or not. Here are some issues that you may need a certified lactation specialist for. These include breast issues such as flat or inverted nipples, tongue tie or lip tie in the infant, and a clogged breast duct or mastitis, infection of the breast duct. If you think you might be dealing with any of these, contact your lactation consultant or contact me and I can help you find one. Here are some issues this webinar may be able to help you with, although you may still prefer the help of a professional. nipple confusion, improper nipple latch on the bottle, which may cause improper nipple latch on you, causing soreness, and lowered milk supply. If you are having some of these issues, you may want to share these solutions with your carer. Avoiding nipple confusion. Nipple confusion occurs when one of two things happens. One, baby refuses a bottle because it's too different from breast nipples, or two, baby begins to refuse the breast because bottles are easy to drink from. To help prevent nipple confusion, first of all, understand how babies drink from the breast. The rooting reflex is a reflex that all babies possess that helps them find the nipple. I'm sure that you have learned that when you place your nipple on baby's bottom lip, they will open their mouth wide, and then you can place your entire nipple and areola in baby's mouth. The same should be done with the bottle. It is important to then place the entire nipple into the mouth so that the baby's lips are close to the base of the bottle. Make sure that their lips are flanged out. This will help ensure a proper latch so they aren't then going back to your breast and latching improperly. If babies begin to latch improperly on your breast, it can cause a great deal of pain. So remember, duck lips are better than no lips. If you find baby has an improper latch, you can correct it by slipping a finger between the lips and the nipple, or even just twisting the bottle slightly. Okay, second, when sucking from the breast, baby's mouth must encompass the entire areola of the breast so that the nipple will be sucked to the back of the mouth where it presses on the baby's soft palate, activating the suck reflex. All right, a little participation here. Run your tongue along the roof of your mouth from just behind the teeth back. You should feel ridges at the front of your mouth that become smooth as you move your tongue back. The ridges are your hard palate, and the smooth part is your soft palate. The soft palate is where the nipple needs to reach to create a proper latch. Baby then presses on the nipple with their tongue, otherwise known as tongue thrust. If baby latches on to just mom's nipple as they might do with a bottle, not only will milk not flow efficiently, but your nipple will get quite sore as breastfeeding babies tend to suck very hard. Making sure baby is latching the same way on a bottle that they should latch onto your breast will help with this problem. You can download a handout about ensuring a proper latch on the link list. In this picture from breastforbaby.com, the bottle on the left has an orthopedic nipple and a severe tip to base slope. The bottle on the right has a gradual slope from tip to base, more closely mimicking mom's breast. As you can see, the baby on the left just has the nipple in their mouth. The baby on the right has a wide open mouth and is demonstrating a proper latch that most resembles breastfeeding. Bottles and pacifiers can play an important role in avoiding nipple confusion. If you think your baby is having this issue, here are some examples of nipples and pacifiers that you might want to try to help. There are bottles that are specifically made with nipples that most closely mimic mom's breast and can help with avoiding nipple confusion. Nipple shape should be gradual from tip to base to simulate the breast, like a triangle. A few examples of these are Even Flow Balance Plus and Lanasoa Mama. If you want a bottle that's easier to find in stores, go for the Dr. Brown Narrow Neck. Keep in mind that just because a bottle looks like the breast that is on your chest does not mean that it is a good breastfeeding nipple. Nipples look a lot different once they're inside baby's mouth, and you want to simulate that, not what it looks like on your body. For suggestions for pacifiers, I would recommend a Tommy Tippy breast-like pacifier or a Soothie. It is best to wait until breastfeeding is established to introduce a pacifier, usually when baby is a couple of weeks old. Avoid orthopedic nipples for bottles and pacifiers. I'm sure you've got this figured out by now, but check out the link list to access a handout to help you remember this advice. Okay, next let's talk about nipple flow. Nipple flow is important in this regard as well. It is important to keep baby on the slowest flow nipples for as long as possible. Baby has to work a little harder to suck from the breast than from a bottle, and if the flow of the bottle is fast, then baby might get lazy about sucking, causing problems during breastfeeding. It should take between 15 to 20 minutes for baby to finish a bottle. If they are drinking it faster than 15 minutes, nipple flow is too fast. Supply and demand. What should you do if you find your supply is dropping? Supply equates to demand. In other words, if demand for breast milk drops, then the breast will produce less milk. Babies are way more efficient in getting milk from breasts than breast pumps are. You may find when returning to work that more pumping may mean less milk production and you are unable to keep up supply. In Working and Breastfeeding Made Simple, Nancy Marbacher writes, if your pump yield is less than average, it's time to consider the following issues. Your pump isn't working properly, and you should contact the manufacturer. Your pump isn't working effectively for you, or your milk supply is less than what's expected. There are 3 ways to increase daily milk removals: breastfeed more, pump more, and do both. The choice is yours. Again, your lactation consultant can help you with production. Boosting your supply by using the hands-on pumping technique. Again, from Working and Breastfeeding Made Simple, follow these steps. First, massage both breasts. Double pump. Pump both breasts often while pumping. Continue until milk flow slows to a trickle. Stop pumping and massage your breasts again, concentrating on areas that feel full. Finish by either hand expressing your milk into the pump's nipple tunnel or by single pumping, whichever yields the most milk. Either way, during this step, do intensive breast compression on each breast, moving back and forth from breast to breast several times until you've drained both breasts as fully as possible. Massaging the breast helps to break up any type of fat nodules that might be clogging your ducts and helps them drain more properly. On my link list, you'll find a link to a YouTube video that demonstrates this technique. As I've said earlier, it's important to work with your carer to be successful. Open communication is the best way to enlist their help. Don't be afraid to let them know if you're having issues. If they have been trained to help, they will have a good idea what to do, and if they haven't, they should be open to your suggestions. Another great suggestion that hasn't been mentioned is nursing just before you take your child to care and nursing as soon as you pick up. You may need to ask your carer to hold off on a feeding if you are about to pick up and want to nurse as soon as possible. Most caregivers will also allow you to come breastfeed during the day if you are able. Here are some more tips for serving breast milk from the bottle. Milk can be served cold, room temperature, or warm, whichever way your baby likes it best. To heat milk, place the sealed container into a bowl of warm water or hold it under warm running water. Commercial bottle warmers are a great investment, but usually only work for bottles of milk, not frozen bags. You could also invest in a small crock pot, as those are really good at putting in bigger bottles or bags, and they heat it up and thaw it nicely. Do not heat milk directly on the stove or in the microwave. Test the temperature before feeding it to your baby by putting a few drops on your wrist. It should feel warm, not hot. Once baby has started a feeding, any unused milk must be used or dumped out by 2 hours from the start of feeding to keep bacteria from growing in the milk. Swirl the milk to mix the fat which may have separated. Never shake breast milk as it messes with the composition. As with anything, wash your hands before and after preparing or serving. I will always recommend lactation consultants if you really need help. Here are my consultant recommendations in Northern Illinois and Southern Wisconsin. As I've said, you can always contact me for help. I offer virtual help packages, and if I can't help you, I will recommend a consultant and refund the cost of your virtual appointment. All of my recommendations are on my link list with links to their websites. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope it helps. Please email me or set up a virtual consult with me on my website if you have any questions. I also have resource sheets for sale in my shop. Check them out. Good luck on going back to work. Together we can help you be successful.